he, she, they, we, it, whatever.
Oh no, Jesus!
What do you like to be called? What do you like to be called? To your face, in your messages, in the comment section. What do you like to be called, and what do you deem as appropriate? Does it matter what you think is appropriate? I don't know, because people are going to call you whatever they want. And that's okay, because what people call you has nothing to do with you or how hot you are, which is important. It's important to remain hot at all times. But if you can't, just remember that it doesn't matter what other people think. But I just wanted to hop on here and I wanted to tell you guys some things that have transpired in my life. Not all of these are recent. Usually recently I get comments like, ew, you're a man, or that's the nice version, by the way. This is the censored version. Or we get versions of people saying just really hateful things, gay, queer, LGBT stereotypes, right? And then also just hateful, rude things. I want to start doing hate comment videos again, just to let you guys know what I go through. Okay, I want to let you guys know what I go through because it's not fun. It's not great. It's not good and gather. It's not anything you could ever want. Okay, it's bad. And people are rude and hateful. But my whole life, for the most part, have either been... I just have so much to say. I have so much to say. Guys, ever since I was like 5, people have been calling me gay. Okay, they meant it as a slur. I don't consider it a slur now. I mean, obviously people can say things with negative connotations, but ever since I was little, people were calling me gay. They knew before I did, okay? They knew that I was a queer, okay? And that's okay. They clocked the diva. They clocked the doll. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. How they did it, there was something wrong with that. But in the workforce, I used to be a server. Some of you know this. I used to be a server, and I wasn't living super androgynously at the time. I was looking pretty masculine, I thought. Of course, I had blue hair, and it was probably in a man bun at the time. But that's not important, okay? They always would think I was a girl on the phone, which... taking phone orders... okay, maybe she was fish. Maybe she was a little fish. So I would always get called ma'am. And I would always just like lean into it and like just go with it, right? Because that was my existence. That was my life. And deep down secretly, I wanted to be called ma'am anyways. So it was like, oh, you think I'm the Teen Boom Boom doll, right? So they knew on the phone, they knew. But tell me why, as soon as you transition, people switch up and then they have no problem calling you sir all the time, okay? Didn't change my voice, haven't changed a thing as far as that goes, but people still be calling you he, right?
He, she, we, they, them, non-binary, vegan, vegetarian.
I'm sure many of you have similar experiences to this, but when I worked at this establishment, people would come up to me and say, ma'am, sir, ma'am, sir, ma'am, sir. And sometimes people do this, like it's a Southern thing, I would say, a Southern hospitality type thing. But they would do this and it would make no sense to me because sometimes they correct themselves and sometimes they don't. But this one guy came up to me, well, actually I came up to him because I was at like the table or whatever, waiting tables. And he was like, thank you, sir, ma'am, whatever. Whatever. Whatever? What? Like, I get, like, saying the wrong thing, right? Or misgendering someone, saying the wrong pronoun, right? But I don't understand giving up. Like, it's one thing to write it off or correct yourself, but, like, to be like, that, whatever. That seems weird and rude to me, okay? And especially in the position of like a service industry worker, like,
and I also use they and them.
Maybe at Starbucks it's a different situation, but like, you know, you could always use they, or maybe just don't use gendered titles. I'm not the gender police. I'm not the gender police, okay? I want you guys to know I'm not the gender police. But if I were, you'd all be getting a misdemeanor, okay? Because it's frustrating to me. It's frustrating to me that people just don't care. And this is another thing, and I probably should have led with this. But if you think you are so cool and so niche and so so smart and so big brainiac, like you're doing cultural change and you're like making a freaking statement and you're all woke and like awesome and right wing and whatever, because you see somebody that is presenting and you think you can clock them. I'm going to translate this for the people that are watching that don't know what clocking is. If you think you can call them out for their gender that was assigned at birth, and you're like, let's say it's me, for instance, and they're like, hey, sir, you'll always be a man. Hey, he, him this, he, him that, you disgusting freak, you whatever, you this and that. Like, if you are doing that, and you think you were so awesome and you're like, that really showed me, that really showed him, like we clocked him, and I look like this.
It is man.
Okay, if I'm presenting like this, if somebody's outwardly, if someone is outwardly presenting as the gender that they want to be called, you are not cool, you are not intelligent, you are not breaking down barriers, you are not doing something special and awesome and fun and great. You're not cool. You're not a nice person if you are deliberately calling them something that they do not want to be called. In fact, some might say that you are rude and hateful and perpetuating things that are awful, and I just want to go. You're not doing society a service. You're doing them a disservice, and you are speaking multitudes about who you are and what you believe in a bad way, okay? And I'm going to talk about something a little more sensitive, which is the religious aspect of this. I know there are a lot of religious people, and I'm not speaking for everyone, I'm just speaking broadly here and what I've experienced as an ex-religious person in the Christian fandom. Also, look at my awful blister. I am so devastated about this, but you'll probably see it, and I don't want you guys to call it out, so I'm calling it out, okay? So now that you've seen that I'm a hard worker, I want you guys to know that my religious experience is different than most. I was raised super religious, okay? So I know a lot about religion, and I've read the Bible more times than I have fingers on my hands. So I would just like you guys to know that. And
I want to make history.
Sometimes I have a hard time not resenting religious people, okay? Okay, is that a bad thing? Is that a me problem? Is that because I don't have the love of Jesus inside of me? Why is Jesus trying to get inside me anyways? Weird. He's always knocking at that door. And like, boundaries, okay, boundaries. Boundaries, right? Boundaries, okay? So religious people will often be like, well, I don't believe in them transgendered. I hear all kinds of weird terminology. They'll be like, I've never seen a transgender before. I get that in my DMs too. Like for the people that are into me, they're like, I've never been with a transgender. And I'm like, well, you're not going to today. Like not this girl anyways. Not with that kind of language. I try to take teaching moments. I try to teach people sometimes, but the religious people, it's just like, they truly think that they are making a stand for Jesus Christ himself by calling a trans woman he or a trans man her. And I think that that is like really weird and disheartening. And if you are, I'm speaking on Christianity specifically here, if you are a Christian or you have read your Bible, you will know that Jesus hung out, allegedly, with sinners, the phallic, right? The people, the broken, and the excuse me. My soda's making me. What's like belching called? Like farting is called flatulence. What's belching called?
Eructation.
Somebody Google that. Editing me, Google that. Anyways, I just want you guys to know that I get very fed up with people. This happens to me all the time. And I'm not always presenting as feminine as this, okay? I'm not always presenting... I don't always look my best. It's hard to look this good all the time for things like work and school. Like, whenever I'm going to go suffer, you want me to look this good, right? I try. But, like, if you ever see me looking bummy, don't talk to me. In fact, tell me, if you do talk to me, tell me how gorgeous I look. Because I am hotter than you still, so don't forget that. But, like, I'm just saying that it's a lot harder for trans people a lot of the time, because trans people have a lot more maintenance they have to do, because not everybody has money to transition, right? And I see this in the community a lot, and from like hate from like the cis het world, right? It's like, oh, well, just transition, just do this, just get surgery, just do this, just do this, just do that, just do that. Like, maybe I can't afford that because I'm broke or because I'm disenfranchised from my family. You know, like, I am a white trans woman and I have a lot more privilege than a lot of these women of color, okay? And I realize that, and I think it is important for me to stand up for the other dolls and the kins out there, because some people are disenfranchised. Like, I am fortunate to have a pretty decent family unit. You know, like, my sisters are like constants in my life, and I have other family members as well that are super supportive. Not all, but a lot. And like, that's something that means so much to me. You know, a lot of people don't have that. You know, a lot of people have to fear, and some people don't come out at all, but a lot of people have to fear coming out or come out and get alienated from their families. A lot of people won't come out because they are fearful of how their family will retaliate against them, not wanting to talk to them, how they'll lose their whole friend group and social network. Like, I get it. I've been there. I have been there. And let me tell you, it was so fearful for me when I first came out, because I was afraid that everyone in my life would leave. And at the time, the people that left my life were not the people that I expected to leave my life when I told them. And then other people that I never would have thought would leave my life left. So, and like now, you know, being out for, I don't even know, me trying to do math, but I was like 17, 18. I feel like when I first started, it's a journey, right? For most people, it's a journey. It wasn't very cut and dry for me. Like, I'm this, you know, I had like a gradual coming out, but we can talk about that in another video. For me, it was like, oh, you know, most of these people have trickled out of my life for the most part, just because people, you know, some people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, you know, and a lot of those people were in my life for a reason, some for a season and very few for a lifetime. So I say all that to say, what the hell is going on around here, people? What is going on? Like, I don't understand why people are having such a hard time with pronouns. Like, I'm not saying, like, I don't really care if people misgender me. I do care. But, like, I especially if it's in a disrespectful way in person, right? If you're being disrespectful in person, I care about that. If it's a workplace setting, I care about that, because I should command and demand respect as I give to others, but also there are legal ramifications in the workplace that surround that, you know? But I have been in situations over the years where people do not handle the workplace parameters very well, you know? And it's like, you really have to advocate for yourself, because if you don't, people will walk all over you. So I'm here to say, stand up for yourself, stand up for your fellow queer people, stand up for other disenfranchised people, okay? So I'm here to say that, first of all. And I'm also here to say, why the hell are you even using language-driven terminology if you cannot mentally grapple with the fact that it's complicated? Right? So, like, why are we calling ma'am and sir and all of that? Like, you can say, oh, it's my right, it's my heritage and freedom of speech and whatever. Yeah, that's fine. And you can say and do that, which is also fine. But, like, I'm not saying, hey, neckbeard. You know? Like, I'm not saying, hey, baldy. I'm not saying, hey, tubby muffin top. I'm not saying, hey, you didn't tip last time you were in here. Hey, brokey. Hey, broke. Hey, poor. Oh, hi, poor. Oh, hi, poor. Is that Louis Vuitton real? You know, I'm not saying things like that. To me, like, that's the same kind of, it's disrespect. You're manifesting disrespect and rudeness and hate and instigation. You're instigating a situation to try to bait a reaction or to try and assert dominance, or I don't know what their gig is, right? A lot of the time it's men, but I have experienced this from women as well. Typically the older generation, I would say like 40s, late 40s, 50s to old, not to be ageist, but like I get people who are from a different time or whatever, but like I've also experienced, and I think this is a different thing, I've experienced a lot of love and support from the elderly as well. The old men, though, however, I think they just don't realize that I'm trans because they're old and can't hear very well, and like their eyesight may not be good. Like, I feel like, hey guys, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. Sometimes I feel like a clocky brick, okay? So, that said, I feel like the old guys, they don't clock me. Ooh! I feel like the old men, they just, they don't know. Or maybe they do know. Maybe they do know. This is major news. This is major news to me. I think I'm cracking the code on this one, guys. I'm just saying that, like, can we be respectful to people? I'm just going to start calling people neckbeards. I'm going to muffin top, neckbeard, hater. Maybe, we need like a better name. Like, I don't like the Karens. I say Karen. I have said that before, but like, I don't know. I think it's like losing its, it might be losing its good vibe. It could be losing the vibe. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Am I the problem here? Again, asking, that should, maybe I should start a new show. It could be called Am I the Problem? Because maybe I am the problem, and I know I'm going to get little hate comments on Facebook and everywhere else from the men, okay? From the haters. And I know that they're going to say that, yes, I am the problem, because I get these ones where it's like, I got a weird one. I'll put it up on the screen, but it was something like, can't even be a man, so you pretend to be a woman or something. And it's just like, what do you want from me? Like, even if I didn't put on makeup and like hair and like the whole vibe, right? Like,
she's in my mug, in my face.
I'm still like, they're still gonna have an issue with me being like, if I was identified as gay or something, they're still going to have an issue with that. So it's like, what do you want me to do? Like, do you want, like, what is the, oh, my car's turning off because I've been sitting too long. What do you want me to do? Like, you want me to go to conversion therapy? You want me to, which is unethical, disgusting, and evil, by the way, and should be outlawed. That should not be legal. You should not be allowed to do that to your children, okay? Like, it's one thing to send them to like Christian schools and religious, fanatical, whatever. Like, that's a whole nother topic. But like, to be able to send your child off to be literally tortured and psychologically damaged in conversion therapy is crazy. It's crazy and should not be allowed. It should not be legal. It is disgusting to me. It is disgusting. And like this video if you agree, because it's freaking disgusting. Actually, like this video if you don't agree. I don't care. Like this video, but it's disgusting. Okay? And it pisses me off. It makes me so angry because it's disgusting. Okay? I recently saw a video where a judge, it was like a TV judge, went and like talked to the young man that was being sued, I believe, by his father because they tried to send him to conversion therapy. I think his pronouns are he. Forgive me if they're not. But that moved me so much. I didn't watch the whole episode, so I was being influenced by a clip. But like, it moved me so much because it's like, if you are a parent, or if you're planning to have kids and you want to aspire to be a parent, that is a noble cause, I think. It's like you're preserving the future generations of humanity. That's noble in some ways. However, if you cannot love a child for anything they become, for anything good or bad that they do, for anything that they are, for anything they say, any way that they look, any disappointment that they may make against you or in their life, you should not have a child, okay? You should not have a child to fix your relationship. you should not have a child to experience true love. I think that is ignorant. I think that is stupid. If you cannot have a child and say, I will put you first always, and I will love you unconditionally. I will love you unconditionally, and I will do my best and make sacrifices to make sure that you turn out A-okay. I will go without because I care about you more than myself. Then you should not have children, okay? And I say all this to say, because a lot of these people back when I was a server that would do all this, the shenanigans of misgendering and saying he, she, they, whatever, or like being rude, and even in the public today, because I still work in the public, as you guys know, I see this, I experience it. My siblings work in the public and they are queer as well, and they tell me what they experience. I have friends that experience the same things, and it's like, it's very disheartening because so many of these people have children, okay? And little minds and little eyes and little ears, they are watching and they're listening and they're thinking about what their parents do. They emulate what they see. Now, whenever kids are emulating this, what the hell do you think, I can say hell is in the Bible. What the hell do you think they're going to grow up to do?
I like turtles.
Are they going, let's say one of them is queer, right? Maybe they haven't come out yet. It's fine. Maybe they haven't come to fruition. They're going to figure out all that on their own time. That has nothing to do with me. We're not grooming children. So that's another harmful stereotype that needs to go away, okay? But let's say this kid's growing up to be queer of some kind. Do you think they're not going to internalize hate and misogyny and anger and all these things toward who they are, and that's going to affect depression and, you know, all kinds of other things, all the turbulence that's going to follow in their life, their relationships, all of that's, it's going to perpetuate forward, right? You're paying it forward, because whenever you perpetuate hate and ignorance, it always will rub off on your children. It will rub off on your kids, because you are being an ignorant fool, and you are teaching that to young minds, okay? So next time, you're like he, she, they, it, whatever, they, them, whatever. Like, whenever you cannot...
Yes, ma'am. I mean, sir. I mean, boss. I mean, poobah.
Call somebody by something respectfully, don't say it. Personally, and I have one more grievance, and then we'll end off, okay? I've recently experienced this quite a bit. And there's a person in my life that is in a position of authority over me. Several. There's actually multiple that have done this. And normally I would say, if I was just meeting someone, you know, and I didn't know their gender identity or what they preferred to be called, I would consider them, or I would refer to them as they, right? I may have assumptions, I may whatever, but I say they in a conversation or whatever, because until I know or hear how they refer to themselves, I want to make sure it's not offensive, right? I'm trying to go that extra mile, and sometimes I make mistakes, okay? I do. I'm going to be honest with you there. Sometimes I make mistakes because I am presumptuous and I'm like, oh, he or she, but like, I've made mistakes in the past, and I'm sorry if that's ever happened to you, but I try to remedy that, right? And so one of the things I've done is to try to say they toward people, because I don't know. You know, sometimes you just don't know, and that's okay. But there's this thing that's happening to me where people in positions of authority will know my preferred pronouns are she, her, hers, and they will say they in reference to me. They also do this in reference to other queer people. Now, I would be okay with this if they were doing it to everyone, but they are in fact not doing it to everyone. They are in fact doing it only to the queer people. So I would like to ask you guys' opinion on that, because I personally am mildly offended by it, but also it's like one of those things, it's like I don't really want to fight about it because there's so much other horrible things that happen to me. I wish I were joking, but yeah, I'm interested to know what you guys think about that, because I feel like it's a little disrespectful, because it almost seems like a cop-out to not be able to affirm who you are, right? Because they're not doing it to Billy Bob, right? Billy Bob gets a he, him. You know, Sarah Massou over here gets a she, her. But then it's like any queers in this environment where it's like they. And I don't think it's because it's like multiple. It's a lot of people that this happens to. And I think like one of them refers to themselves as non-binary. So I don't know. I'm interested to know you guys' thoughts. Tell me about your experiences. Let me know in the comments. I want to know. I want to know the tea. I want to get the 411. Tell me the tea. But he, she, thee, they, them, we, it, frogs. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm ready to delete the internet and everybody else in between. So, aspartame. Bye!